Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second ever episode of my podcast, the Glittery Stars podcast, with me, your host, Mike Landers. So, in today's episode, I will be talking about holidays, basically with the places that I've been this year, but also to give you listeners some advice about, say, if you've been to these places or want to go back, or you've never been, or you've maybe never heard of these places, but like something you could do whilst you're there, whether it's say overnight trip, weekend where you plan to go like for a few weeks, like a family holiday, or if you're planning holidays for next year or later this year, anything like that. So let me start off with telling you guys about some of the places I've been to this year. So first off, starting earlier this year, I went to a place called Withensea. Now, if you've not heard of that, it's a seaside town in East Yorkshire, about an hour away from Hull. Um, I also went to Blackpool this year, and I'd been like obviously for like days out and stuff, but I never and I think I stayed like near Blackpool like for years, like when I was younger, but I never really went since then for like overnight trips. Um, so I went there overnight in April, and then I went to in June. I went to Wales, specifically Llandudno or Llandudno, as this I think that's how you say it in Wales. Um, and then in July, I went to Leeds overnight. And then I went near end of July to Bristol, and then I'm going back to Withensea in a few days. So I just thought, like, I'm not trying to brag, by the way, but like, I've had the opportunity to go, like, people invite me to places and things like that, which I'm also very grateful for. So let me start off with Withensea. So Withensea is in, obviously, like I said, in East Yorkshire. So I went there 3 times last year, and obviously April, like March, April this year, and then obviously I'm going again in a few days for 5 nights. So in Withensea, the town itself, I mean it is quite small, but it is near the beach, which is quite nice. There are some shops, there's like an emporium shop, there's like obviously souvenir shops, and obviously depending where you're staying. Say you stayed at because there's quite a few caravan parks, like caravan like parks around there, or maybe if you're staying like maybe in another like local town near there. So with Within Sea, there is obviously like handy shops like Aldi, and there's like a lot of different shops for you guys to look at. There's one called Wizards by the Sea, really good, really cool stuff in there. There's like some like little craft shops and there's things like that. They also have a market called, I think certain days during the week called, I think is it Piddy Lane Market. Really interesting. I went. The people were absolutely lovely there. Um, Advice with that for staying on caravan parks. Now, there's a few. I won't say the one I'm staying at just for reasons, but like with it, obviously not far from the beach, within and also like not far from the town centre, but like depending where you're staying at, like some quite near each other, so you can obviously like go to your one with entertainment complexes, or like cafes and stuff like that. But like sometimes it is cheaper to maybe like go into the town centre or like get stuff from like one of the supermarkets and things like that. Like they have Heron Food as well as Aldi and different things. They also have with the Aldi there, pretty much in the same building. There's also a pound stretcher. I've basically told you like a lot of other places, but they also like if you ever go to Yorkshire, like well through that is there's the car factory shop and there's a lot of different um like that they're mainly across Yorkshire. There's also Boyses, different things like that. Also now, more things to do. So obviously you can go on the beach. They always have events like I've been to a dog show there. They do car boot sales, I believe. It's also a nice place to walk around. Also, it's nearby other places like Hornsea. Obviously, you could maybe like go to Hull if you wanted to. Skipsea, Bridlington, now there's buses there. Obviously, you have to maybe like check for when they are. Obviously, if you drive, that'd be good. I went to Hornsea, so within Hornsea, there's like other shops, like Isle of Cherry shops, as there is in Withensea. It's like really nice to actually look around. There's a lot of like different areas there. So like within Withensea, you sort of like near other places as well to go. and I'm hoping that I get to go to Burlington this time. So because it's also not far from Burlington as well. So yeah, so like with the scene, so there is a lot of stuff to do, and there's always like things happening. So yeah. So then obviously we have Blackpool, and obviously I know people know things in Blackpool. Obviously there's Blackpool Pleasure Beach, there's like Coral Island, there's obviously like different shops, there's different amusements. Now obviously I stayed there. Basically, one of my friends moved up there earlier this year, so I've been to that, and I've been a few times, but like since then only for like a day, basically. But I would say definitely go to Coral Island because I did enjoy it. Different like obviously arcade machines and stuff like that, and little rides. Obviously though, if you want to go to Blackpool Pleasure Beach, it is good. Obviously I know everyone's got different opinions. My favourite rides would be Tandem Ice Blast. I'm trying to think of the other ones. I don't do a lot of roller coaster rides, but there's a lot of ones there that are good. And obviously you've got to like obviously like there's Wallace and Gromit, and obviously like Little Wonderland and all that stuff. And then within next one, what was I on about? Was well, so I went to London now, and let me start to talk about the pit, and the beach is absolutely lovely. It's gorgeous there in London now. Obviously, it's London now in Wales. It's like more like North Wales basically. So I stayed in like one of the hotels that's sort of like near the beachfront like kind of vibe. So with that, obviously there's a lot of like obviously hotels near each other, like restaurants and stuff, and obviously they're probably quite competitive with each other. So with that, obviously there's different places to try, and obviously there's a sightseeing tour bus as well, which I want to recommend. If you want to do. I know it like ends like I think it's like October, November, something like that. Because obviously it's like they have like what they call like mid-season, peak season, things like that. Um, Just going back to Within for a sec, they also have Within Lighthouse, sorry, which is got a tea like cafe and stuff. But anyway, back to Blackpool, but I'll get back to Within in a minute. So sorry, Wales. Um, so within Wales, obviously, like I said, obviously London. So obviously you can go to Conway Castle. I really enjoyed it. They've got a nice gift shop, but it's also like just really fascinating to learn about. And I also went up one of the castle towers, which was really good and interesting in my opinion. Like I really enjoyed it. A lot of different people from all over come. Like obviously there's Americans and things like that as well there. So like people come from all over to see it. Also there, not far from in Conway, is Britain's smallest house. Lovely lady who runs that. I really enjoyed it. So if you're tall, just make sure you're careful when you're going. It's quite cheap, so they have like little obviously merch there as well. So within Llandudno itself, there's a lot of the beach is lovely for what obviously just got to be careful with the weather, with it being near the sea, quite windy. Also depending on where you stay, like which is like that's obviously some of them probably like around houses and stuff. Like if you're tall, like just be careful. Like obviously, like some if you stay in like a room upstairs, some like the ceilings have obviously like bars that are down and stuff. So yeah. Also within London itself, there's a lot of Alice in Wonderland themed stuff because um, the girl who was originally based on Alice Liddell, that is where she stayed on one of her holidays when she was alive as a child. I think like 8 or something like that. And we actually stayed in the hotel which we believe she stayed at. Could be like that, or like what used to be there basically. Um, so there they have the Alice Suite, and obviously if you do that, and obviously there's like different statues and things like that. There's also a beach called West Shore Beach. There's not a lot there, but it's nice. It's got like a little pond, stuff like that near there, and things like that. Excuse me, what? I'm just gonna have a drink because I'm doing a lot of talking. So there's things like that there, and on the pier there was a wheel. There's a lot of different like little what's it like stalls. There's one that does a lot of like handmade stuff really good. There's one that does donuts, which are actually quite nice, like ice cream as well. Obviously, you do have to be. One thing I would advise about London now specifically, Within Sea's not as bad, but the Cedars there can be quite like, you know, like one basically stole my sandwich while I was there. So you've got to be careful with food. But in general, it's a lovely area. I want to go again because it was absolutely gorgeous. I wish I could have stayed longer. So hopefully, I would like to go back there one day. Obviously, it's not that far Wales, but obviously, like we got the train and stuff. And I'm really grateful to my friend and her mum who invited me to go with them. So next thing that we have is Leeds, next place. So obviously, you might not think Leeds is a holiday, but I stayed overnight, so it's kind of like a little holiday for me. Like I've been to Leeds once before, like properly, like January last year, so January 24 to do some shopping centre, and obviously I've been through sometimes on the train and stuff, but this was my first proper time being properly in like the town centre of Leeds. Um, so we stayed. So me and my friends for one of my friend's birthday, we stayed in an Airbnb, and advice about Airbnb, like it was quite confusing because it was in like Leeds, like West, I think like West Off or something like that. Um, but it was quite nice. But obviously, you know, just like depend, like you know, if you don't want to, maybe if you want to stay a bit like, but it was all right for us. There's only a few of us anyway. So it was basically flat, but like Airbnb, that was the first time. It was quite interesting. I would rather maybe stay somewhere else next time than there, but the one specifically. But like the view of like Leeds Docks is really nice. Leeds itself is quite good. So obviously they've got like the big shopping centre. There's like I went to Black Sheep Coffee because I think I'd only had that once before, like somewhere else. I think in Manchester. I think there's one in Manchester. Um, but also, you know, it's does nightlife. There's a lot of people, like, depending when you go, like, when we went, it was a bit quiet, but because it was like during the week. But there's like a lot of different places. I was told about the viaducts is meant to be quite good. We went somewhere, there was a place that I went to that the cocktail called Jealous Tomorrow, which was quite nice. I think it was just a bit too much foam in it for me, but like, it was good still. Um, and like the spoons there are quite good. I think it's called the Headley Verity, something like that. But like everyone that we met was like really nice and stuff around there. And like the resorts is like really nice, like the river and stuff like that, or canal, whatever it is, really nice. So I'd say yeah, go to the shopping centre, have a walk around these dots, don't see some different places, but yeah. And obviously if you're there for a night out or something, maybe go like to the spoons or like for one of the clubs or something. Next, we have Bristol. So I've actually been to Bristol before. I went last year. So I'll tell you about from that, and then obviously from this year. So I went to there last year because one of my friends basically lives there, and I went to see them at near end of July. So in Bristol, I so see like so the first time I stayed there, I stayed in the village hotel, and this time I stayed at my friend's house. And basically, so there's a lot of different things in Bristol. So I've been to two different museums there. I can't remember I think one's called like M something and the other, but like the boat, I would say they were both really good, really interesting. A lot of stuff to look at. Obviously, like many different time periods, like dinosaurs, and there's obviously Egyptians and different things like that. But obviously a lot more modern stuff as well. And also in Bristol, so obviously they have like the shopping centre. The other Waterman was there. First time I ever had Waterman was last year in Bristol. We didn't have it this year, but like, cause like, so also for any like LGBTQ plus people, obviously including myself, there's a bar. Obviously, there's more than one, but there's one in Bristol, but I think they're all over the place. But there's OMG bar in, I think there's more than one, but there's one in Bristol. It's really nice. From what entertainment, so we went. Um, Bristol Cathedral is actually really nice as well. I didn't do any, but it looked really nice. And like got some pictures outside, and there's a lovely grass area that a lot of people sit on, obviously depending on the weather. Um, there's a lot of like different places to shop, and I thought that was like really good. It was just like a nice vibe, and I think everyone in Bristol is really nice. Also, there's a Dutch shop that I went. I didn't go this time, but I went last year called Sparks, and it's like really colourful and like really interesting. So I'd definitely recommend going there because it was really good and nice. To be honest, I'm sorry if I'm off on like talking too quick, but yeah. And then what else would I say for Bristol? Yeah, also there's nice. the nightlife is done. So, and also there's a difference in Telford. So there's a bridge. I can't remember the name of the bridge, but there's also the SS Britain ship. So you can obviously go off at that. Um, and things. And you know what? It's a general like nice area. I've met a lot of like people from there now, and it's like they're all really nice. So I would say definitely go worth a visit. And things like that. So. Obviously, yeah, just going back to Withensea, so I'm going there in a few days. Also, if I can't believe that I forgot to say, there is a lighthouse that is on a street in Withensea, it's obviously Withensea Lighthouse. So it's open from like say like early in the year, so obviously like maybe like October, like November, something like that. And they have a cafe. They do one of my favourite milkshakes in the world called a shmoo. I like to smoo or shmoo. And there's only ever been a few other places that I've been to that have done it, like two other places or like three other places. And the riddles, so like cafe's like really nice, quite cheap. The lighthouse is at about 144 steps, but it's like really interesting. You learn a lot of things, and it's really nice to read. But it's actually on a street, and it's not near the like you can see the sea from it, but it's not actually like on the sea. Like it's in the middle of a street. It's so random, but I love it. It's great. And I am planning. Me and my friend's mum are planning to go because she's not been up it. Because when me and my friend went, so my friend Caroline, who it is, um, she got like about part way up, but I went all the way up, even though I'm dispatched to. You will, depending on how you are, like with like a lot of stairs, you may feel it's like spiral, obviously, so you may feel like a bit like a headache afterwards. But I was all right. I mean, I did for a few hours, but then I was fine. But it was worth it. And I really enjoyed it. Like, it's only a few pounds, and obviously they've like a little souvenir bit, and obviously then they've got the cafe as well. You don't have to necessarily go into that house, you can walk around the back to go to the cafe. But yeah, so that's the plan. And yeah, so and hopefully we'll be doing there again this time. So yeah. Also in we didn't see they had the indoor promenade market with the little cafe and they brought a few other bits. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed this episode. And obviously depending when you listen to this, I'll either like be preparing to go to Withensea or already be in Withensea because I'm doing this Sunday, so the 31st, and then back on the Friday the 5th. And also, speaking of next week, just to let you know, I have a brand new song cover, my version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow coming out, but also I will record with my first ever guest, hopefully next week. I won't say who it is, but you may have heard him before because of something that I did with him like a few months ago. I was on his podcast basically. So you may know who I'm talking about, but if not, you'll find out next week. So yeah, I will see you in my next episode next week. But I hope you enjoyed this one and let me know your thoughts. And if you've been to these places, what you thought of them and stuff like that. Okay, bye guys.